But what is that we are compromising? And if I go back to the topic is how do we align the objectives of those individuals with the organizational objective. Finally, this is where the wealth creation and the customer experience, which are the core to any enterprise, would be created. Now, discretionary effort, where a person will go all out to ensure that he gives the same customer experience which a person of permanent nature would have given, is something which is a big challenge. Even loyalty when a permanent staff is not giving, and the amount of white collar crime we all are facing today, the compliance requirement which are applicable for day one, hour one, minute one, this is an area which requires a huge attention, and I don't think HR as a silo of the business alone can handle this. It needs far larger commitment from all the partners of society, whether it's a government, whether employer, employees, and create the mindset which will change this, and it's a very, very long journey. So this is my attempt to answer some of the questions which have been asked.
So, thank you all. I think there are some questions which I'm going to put on my staffing hat and ask you all. Probably could spend 30 seconds on that. That very specific questions, that what are those 3 things that you're looking for from a flexi staffing organization? If you're in the process of evaluating one, what are the 3 things that you're looking from the flexi worker? And lastly, the 3 things that you're looking from the government, given the Indian landscape, which probably helps meet your requirements and needs. So maybe just...
Yeah, let me start by 3 things from the partner. I think first and foremost, be compliant, both in letter and spirit, non-negotiable. You may be the biggest player in the world, but if you're non-compliant, you're perhaps the smallest player for me. So that's kind of just number 1, compliance to the laws in both in letter and spirit. I think the second thing is, I'm looking at this in partnership. So when we look at partners, I call them either scale partners or specialized partners. Scale, which will help me scale, create an opportunity platform, you grow with me, or you are perhaps specialized, you bring some capabilities and unique perspectives which others are not able to bring. If you're not in any of those 2 spaces, then you're perhaps working through these partners as opposed to working directly with me. So bring the element of scale or specialization. And third, I think willing to take some kind of risks in terms of risk and reward. So one of the challenges that we face, and this goes back to the quality aspect of as well, is in a scarcity environment, many times we have to build skills as opposed to acquire ready-made skills. And there is an uncertainty associated with that even if I'm building skills, will the person stay with me? As somebody was saying, I've invested in training, will the person stay, will the person leave? Are you willing to invest and in some of those risks and rewards, and we can figure out something which is certainly protecting kind of your downside and upside and protecting our interests as well. But that willingness to partner with an organization is key. So kind of these 3 things are key for me: compliance, kind of be clear who you are, scale or specialization, and thirdly, willing to partner from a risk standpoint. I'll let others comment on the...
Would you like to comment on the other aspects?
So in terms of from the flex worker, I think the element of compliance and ethics goes, there is a 0 tolerance on that aspect of it. Second is to do with the skill itself. So if you come in and you offer just plain vanilla standard skill, today's world is not about that vanilla skill. The world is more about specialization. World is more about looking at advanced things. So whatever is being asked for world over is being asked of us here on ground. So what is that additional thing which you bring onto the table? I would say that is key. I don't have a third ask as far as people are concerned, but the only other thing which I would add in the element in the area of government would be not just as much as there is a focus for skill building and there is a focus on looking at some of the employment related laws. I think there is an opportunity for us to look at some of the intellectual capability laws centered around information security, centered around data privacy, centered around Foreign Corruption Act, all of those aspects of it, and really do something about it in that direction too. So that would be one of my asks as far as government is concerned. And these are my views, not my organization views.
I guess, given the broad overview of the topic, there are two fundamental issues. However, they're all very interweaving. One is the contract of employment, and the other is contract for employment. And if I look at the issues where what we expect, I guess, which has been going on for decades, and still, the government has not able to come up with any specific recommendation, is the prohibition part of contract labor, and that's something which I guess we are hoping something will happen. On the flexi staffing partners' expectation, I guess it will be unfair to expect miracle on attrition, miracle on job hopping, because as a principal employer, we ourselves are struggling in that area in spite of giving a fixed employment in various areas, various levels, various kinds of function. But what perhaps we would expect is a deeper understanding of the organization culture and a deeper relationship with the HR team in terms of understanding certain needs and being flexible to provide that on time.
To me, this question is not just limited to organization, government, or the employees. This is more a social question. And why do I say so? Because today, let's imagine a young boy, close our eyes and imagine a young boy, 20-year-old, graduated from college, 21, 22. What are his expectations? He is your workforce, right? We are a young country, growing younger day by day. He wants one bike, cost 80,000. He wants one good wristwatch, cost maybe 10,000 rupees. One good smart mobile phone with internet connection, right? Monthly bill is 2,000 rupees. Mobile cost 15,000. Let's say Xiaomi is now 15,000, I believe. So that's the, apart from that, then t-shirts and shoes and so on and so forth. So what is his monthly outgo? Okay, and I'm not talking about the spend he is going to make on significant others, right? So when he is going to spend money, he is going to spend 20,000. What does he want? He wants to build house day one. For building a house, if you will recall, our parents and many of us have been able to have a house or a flat only in the fag end of their career. But here he wants to have a house before the marriage. So these are the things, these are the social realities, and these are the TV serials or the internet masala is offering him to this. And there's nothing wrong in it. There's absolutely nothing wrong. Everything is branded needed. Now, are we as an employer able to offer that kind of monthly salary to him to meet the, only meet, not exceed, only meet those expectations? One side, almost 2/3 of our manpower, which is coming out of the engineering college or MBA schools, are not employable. Look at the campuses go. Colleges are closing down because there's no campus. Viability is no longer there. Now, we are expecting certain things from government. Government can fuel the economy by easing the law, easing the environment to do the better business. Fine. But to my knowledge, and my wisdom, little bit whatever, I would say that this will have limited impact. So therefore, this is far more larger issue than just flexi staffing. From a aspiring young person, he wants to relax, chill, go to mall. Now, how do we bring 8 hours of structured working where there's a consistency, there's accuracy, there's zero flaw? So this is the challenge which as a society we are facing. The question is, do we design work to meet the talent requirement, or do we find the talent to meet the work requirement? And that is a struggle I think we as a country will at least face for next 20 years, if not more. This is what my take is. And now within this framework, what can government do? What can we do as a parents, as an elder brother, as an employer, as an organization, is a charter which probably federation like this will have to work very silently and create something to address this issue, because unless we address these issues, I don't think there'll be a very wholehearted solution to this.
Right. And only thing which I would add to it with respect to the flex organization, expectation from flex organization partnership, I think investment in technology and in looking at a newer model than just sticking to the old model of pushing numbers and looking at some of the path-breaking things which are happening owed to technology, both in terms of cloud as well as mobile. And there are ways and means to come up with the newer models to look at business differently.
You know, there's one question which I have often, I mean, I would love to ask you all, is that there are a lot of expectations that corporates have from both the flexi staffing organization as well as from the workforce. But is corporate India willing to pay a premium for it? Because there are expectations of skilled manpower, there are expectations of certain level of attitude, there are various expectations in terms of compliance, and compliance in India is definitely not cheap. So do you think corporate India is willing to pay for it?
Yeah, it goes back to the question to the comment I made earlier, fast, good or cheap. If I want something good, if I want something fast, I can't have it cheap, and I'm therefore having to pay for it. If I don't want something which is fast and good, then that's where you have to make the compromises. I think we have a situation where we've gone to our partners and said, this is what we want to do. This is where an area we want to build skills and muscles in. We don't have it. We're willing to invest with you. Let's build a model which works for you and works for us, knowing there is some element of risk. And so far, we've been disappointed. So to your question, that are the corporates willing to do? I can speak for my organization. Yes, we are. It isn't the typical cookie cutter approach. How much markup will I have on the per person basis? This is, you have to put some level of skin in the game. This is perhaps a longer term, 1 year, 1.5 years. I think the question which I struggle with, goes back to us, is a lot of the companies that we've been working with, or the companies that knock on the doors, if you ask them a simple kind of question, what is your redeployment rate? Many of them wouldn't even understand the question, and the ones who do don't have a good answer for it, which essentially means when somebody finishes contract with me, how many of them do you actually let go versus redeploy them to other assignments? I think that's the key, because even for many of the partners, they're looking at that only as a transactional situation. So I've hired this person for you, you tell me when the work is over, the work for me for this person is over as well. If you have redeployment rates, then I'm happy to invest, because then you have confidence in your ability to deploy them. And I have confidence in being able to work with you. So I think those are the things to work with. So yes, we're willing to invest.
Would you want to add to that?
I feel that payment is a function of perceived value and relationship. So maybe, there could be a 70-20-10 in this also, that 10% of the employers may be extremely proactive and actually already been thinking and have done, and there are examples where organizations are already doing this, and maybe 20% would need a little bit of seeing the reason, and they will jump, and maybe a major chunk may be reluctant at this stage. So honestly, no point painting a very optimistic picture at this stage, but I guess the effort has to be in that direction.
I think payment, yes, if it is helping to create better value, because we all are in business finally, we would do the investment in people. I am trying to work a small model here to serve our distributors, where we will take the MBAs who have not got placed from maybe B or C level MBA colleges, pay them fixed salary for 18 months flat, help them to clear the regulatory tests like NISM and other things, and give them an opportunity to come on board after 18 months as a fixed contract. After 18 months, if you qualify our examination, if you have performance, come on board. It's a kind of upfront money I am committing for next 18 months, which is not a ordinary commitment. But yes, we are also willing to bet. But can we do it with 100% workforce? The answer is no, because finally everybody has that frame within which we have to operate, and we have to be accountable for that. But I think we'll have to keep experimenting till we find a right mix which is suitable for my organization, which may or may not be suitable for any other organization.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much to all the panelists. And on account of paucity of time, I don't think we have the liberty of taking too many questions, but I'll still take 2 questions. Are there any?